Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving,
I don't want to take advice from fools.
you always won every time you placed a bet.
That's what I want.
I'm Joe Duffy, CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com. On this podcast, let's talk about baseball betting and returning to the basics, keeping it simple. We're often asked what our best sports is in handicapping. Now at OffshoreInsiders.com and me, CEO Joe Duffy, with God's tips, I've gotten to the point where we're pretty much at the top of the list in every sport, so it's difficult to single one out. I know it sounds a little conceited, but quite frankly, it ain't bragging if you can do it. However, there is no question that our mastery of baseball in the early 1990s is what vaulted me to the point where professional sports handicapping would be my lifelong profession. And that was after I'd been in the business for a few years. Now, yet to be perfectly frank, while continuing to improve upon our results in other sports, over a previous couple years, I returned back to the pack in baseball. And it took some serious introspection. Fortuitously, going back to my days, I had a handwritten spiral notebook from my scorephone days, and I saved my picks, analysis, and results from decades past. Was I doing something different all of a sudden? After a few hours of soul-searching, it became pretty obvious that I abandoned some of the basics that got me to the pinnacle in the first place. In some respects, I became a victim of my own success, betting picks winners. In 2005, I had probably my best year winning what we call dandy dogs. Dandy dogs are moneyline dogs of $1.40 or more. Now, this includes runline plays getting back $1.40 or more. The downside was it led me to develop a bias against even small favorites. I've known and have preached for years the basics of risk-reward ratio. For example, a 150 favorite needs to have a 60% chance of winning to break even, or based upon our threshold, to have a 70% chance of winning to be a premium play. Yet there were nights I'd go 3 and 4 and still win money in baseball because of betting all underdogs. Bit by bit, I developed a personal chalk reluctance in betting. Too many well-handicapped favorites of more than 120 became passes for me simply because of my increasing acute prejudice against laying the juice. Since returning into my roots, the 120 to 160 favorites have been a major reason behind my return to Major League Baseball handicapping prominence, and that was back in 2008 that I finally returned to my basics and decided to stop outsmarting the room. But even with picking our baseball underdogs, we did become victim of the success we had in other sports. We take great pride in being ahead of the curve with modern technology. The internet made every team, quote-unquote, the local team from a handicapping standpoint, because once regional information is now so easily accessible. World Wide Web has been a boon to us in preseason NFL with accurate key player rotation, motivational information, college football and basketball to revolutionize the way sharp players bet. When super systems have been a great addition in all sports, including baseball, our self-scrutiny brought to light that we were allowing the Billy Bean and Billy James inspired newfangled stats to convince us out of betting our winning picks based on our time-tested and proven techniques. In our first 2 decades of handicapping, had significant success with the big underdogs by riding either hot but non-elite pitchers or fading, struggling star pitchers. And of course, when the two overlapped, that was absolutely the perfect storm. Yet information overload had us finding a fly ball, ground ball ratio or walks to strikeout percent that talked us out of the same kind of plays that for decades won for us. Now, let there be no doubt whatsoever that ERA and WHIP are still the most important statistics in foretelling future results of pitchers. Likewise, in handicapping offense, we've streamlined with great success. Just like for 20-plus years, we return to utilizing the on-base percentage and slugging percentage for most. We never stop fine-tuning our techniques, but our retrospection reminds us sometimes we got to remember if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Since returning to our roots in baseball handicapping, not so coincidentally, we return to the results that our clients have expected and what we desire. With all other sports utilizing the internet and cutting-edge computer software is imperative to staying ahead of the curve, but MLB is probably the clearest exception. Baseball handicapping is much like what your coach taught you when you play the game. You got to master the basic fundamentals. Well, for the best winning picks all baseball season long, same place they were all football and basketball season long, www.offshoreinsiders.com. Again, www.offshoreinsiders.com.